evening, everyone, and you're welcome to the Having Coffee with Robert Kabushenga on 40-Day Mentor, which is likely to be the last, but I'll tell you what is going to come after this. So let me welcome everybody, those of you who are on Zoom, and the guys who are on YouTube, and of course the crowd, the guys who are out there on Spaces. You've made this one of the most interesting platforms that I've had to engage with in a very long time. So I want to welcome you all to this edition. And as you know, I'll be talking about, as I told you, I'll be talking about marketing, sales, and PR made simple. Now, I want to warn you, I am not an expert in these things. I didn't study them. I am not a professional. All I did was run an organization and get involved in activities in order to understand what these things are. Professionally, I'm actually a lawyer, but you know, when you go to Rome, you do as the Romans do. So when I found myself in a business context, these are skills I realized I had to learn. And so I want to share with you these things because sometimes they're wrapped in far too much myth, and so the people who benefit from them want to mystify them and make it appear as if sales is such a big deal, marketing is such a big deal, and PR is wow. So you ordinary mortals can't understand what it is. No, it is actually for anyone out there trying to run a business or thinking of selling themselves. And I'll explain to you how this works. It is absolutely important that you get a grounding or good knowledge of sales, marketing, and PR. Now, they themselves, those are big subjects as they are. I mean, people do master's degrees in these things. So I am not going to give you a master's course or a crash course. I'm just telling you things I discovered during my time running a business. And it doesn't matter whether you're running a corporate business like a huge bank, or if you're running a shop, or you have an online business where you're selling few little things, or you're even running an organization that may not necessarily be in business. You need to understand these things because in those areas, those three areas, sales, marketing, PR, that's where the rubber meets the road, i.e. where the business or whatever it is you're doing meets the customer, who will then buy. If you don't master those things, you will never be able to achieve the objectives from a business standpoint. So if you're selling clothes or shoes online, or if you're like my friend Navasiria, you're selling tomatoes, you still need to know about marketing. You need to know about sales. You need to know about PR. And when you deploy the three different tools so that they work for you. So really today, I just wanted to share with you my experiences and what I know in very simple terms, so that at least you want, first of all, I want you to distinguish between the three. A lot of people, as I discovered, confuse the three. They think and sometimes use sales, marketing, and PR interchangeably. They are not one and the same thing, and they serve three completely different purposes, which ultimately, in the end, deliver high business performance. The ultimate objective remains the same, but the three function differently from a professional standpoint. They are three completely different professions, but all of them, when deployed together, will give you a business outcome. But before I dive into giving you, first of all, the distinction and then ways in which you can prepare for to use the three tools, I need to tell you what's going to happen to 40-Day Mentor. So when I started 40-Day Mentor, all I really wanted to do was to be of use to people that I interact with, especially on Twitter. That's where it's the platform on which I engage mostly, and I have a huge following. So I wanted to be of some use so that people can use their time during the lockdown, gainfully, or at least I can be gainful or useful in their lives. So I didn't realize that it would explode into a big thing that it has now become. When we got the feedback, I have had time to review the feedback, and I have looked at the feedback and what you people requested. And because of what you requested, we will continue to do this, but in a very, very, very specialized manner, so that and targeted and better prepared for. So a lot of the general mentoring, especially for the younger people, especially the people who are just out of school, I will leave that to Rukwenje, because Rukwenje, and then there is Allen Asimwe, who runs Girls for Girls. Let them do that very specific subject of mentoring. I've done my part, I've explored it. Also, the leadership questions and master classes and things like that, I'll leave to Otoa. Otoa, he will do the leadership, and he has got his Ubuntu leadership, and I think it does a fantastic job. Yeah, he will do the leadership and the master classes, and then hopefully one day he'll teach us how to roast meat. That's Otoa. I want to focus, and I'll speak more about this on Twitter. I want to focus on bringing out the voices of the future, and also the voices that we don't hear from at all, who can come in and just enlighten us on some of the specific areas where we need to pay attention to. And I really look at this mainly for people who are, let's say, between the age of 25, 28 and the age of 40, and then even above, because a lot of people are facing challenges. So for instance, people at the age of 40 are beginning to think about retirement and what happens after they go out of employment. There are people thinking about getting to the top. So those are the subjects that we'll look at, and I'll make sure that I am not working in competition with other guys. So this is how this will work. My main platform will continue to be Twitter, because I believe that on Twitter, two things happen very well. One, we spend the day discussing and building up. And after that build up, we have the audio discussion, and everyone, wherever they are, as long as they have access to data, can listen. So they don't have to be seated in one place. Secondly, after that, the discussion can continue. I mean, people have engaged. And one of the most rewarding things that I have seen since we started doing this is that a lot of our mentors have actually picked up the mentoring activity and carried on, and are very dynamic and engaged with their audiences. The other thing, therefore, is I hope that the people that I bring on this platform can continue to carry on the mentoring in their own circles. The mentoring demand, from the feedback I've got, is far too huge for us to exhaust it. So all of us, the mentors that have been on this show, please continue to engage with the people who have followed you. Show them the way. Show them they've followed you because they've seen hope and expectation. So please continue to mentor them, continue to engage with them, even when they raise issues and ask you questions. They're not a burden, they're not an irritation. They're desperate to learn, they want to get ahead. So I appeal to my mentors that I've worked with, please continue the activity, because I can already see that people are asking you questions, and they're quite, many of you are doing it dynamically. Please don't stop. We continue this movement. There was also a request that at some point, the 40-day mentor should be an annual event that we do intensively. Well, that's something we shall consider, and we'll do it again. If there is a third wave and a third lockdown, yeah, then we will come back in. So we'll be very prepared. So there is a future. So although the 40 days have ended today, and as I promised, the daily interaction from 7 p.m. to 8:30 ends today, I will continue to do this on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. It will be better planned for and more specialized, and we'll bring, as I said, new voices. We'll have voices from the future, because there are a lot of young people, as I've discovered, who are doing incredible things and are doing great things and are inspirational. But there are also people who have done stuff that we have never heard from, and they have stories to tell. So I'll keep bringing those, and then I'll also try and find ways of balancing the genders. So I think that please do remain hopeful that I am around, and I will continue to be useful, and you'll continue to benefit from what I know. and then let's see where this goes. So starting on Monday, we shall do it 3 times a week. And as I said, you can reach out on Twitter, engage me. I am quite happy, even when I'm at the farm in the banana plantation. Sometimes I get network and I can engage you. Right. So much for the future. Yes, the future is good and it is bright. But maybe before I even go there, because I might forget this, I really want to thank the guys at Apt Media, because they are the ones who make this possible. I don't have any equipment of my own apart from my phone. And sometimes the internet has been dodgy, but I know that the service providers have been reaching out to me in the last couple of days to see how they can optimize our experience. So that's really where we are. Also, I have some suggestions. I will engage you guys in a Twitter discussion on this as to whether we should accept sponsorship. We're debating it because these things cost money and we need to find a way to make it work and sustainable for all of us. Brilliant. So let's get started on marketing, sales, and PR. So as I said, these 3 things are completely different and have completely different purposes. And they're useful to anyone who is in some kind of business or is looking to be effective in any organization. Please never mix up. Marketing is not PR, PR is not marketing, marketing is not sales, sales is not PR. Please, if that's the only lesson you take from today, those 3 things you should learn. They are 3 completely different in areas of professional application. Don't get mixed up. And people go to school to study this stuff professionally, and they exist and you can use them. And please listen to them. It doesn't matter what you know. You know, many years ago, I ran into 2 people, and one of them was a celebrated brand and marketing personality in South Africa, and the other one was a very experienced communications person who had actually risen to the level of an ambassador. Both of them were working for a telecom company. So I asked them, we were sitting and having dinner, so I asked them, I said, what's the difference between what you do, your marketing, your corporate affairs, and then the lady in marketing told me that her colleague does the writing, and she packages it to make sure that the colors are right. It was put as simply as that and delivered. And that's the day that I learned the distinction. And when I came back from my trip, the very next year, I persuaded the board that we needed to separate the 3 functions. And we did. And we've had, we had a lot of success doing that. We had the sales team led by a different person from the marketing team, because before they were merged, and what we then realized that when you have those functions merged under one person, one of the functions will suffer, and it will suffer depending on who the team leader is. If the team leader is a marketing person, they will have a bias towards marketing. If the team leader is a salesperson, they will just focus more of the time and resources on sales. So separate them, and then the PR people should also be separate, so that, but the person who should bring those 3 activities together is the chief executive, because those 3 working in tandem and in unison deliver on the fundamental objective of the chief executive, which is revenue growth and profitability. But if you're a one-person business, then when you're doing your business plan or running your business, then compartmentalize. List down the activities that you should be doing for marketing. List down activities you should be undertaking during sales, and then those that are PR, so that you don't mix them up, because then you'll get completely confused and you won't know where to focus. So let me start by telling you what PR is. PR is very simple. PR is communicating to the world, to the general public, how you want to be perceived. That's in other words, you are building, with PR, you're really building your reputation and managing it. PR is really essentially about reputation management and how you want, so in other words, how you want to be perceived, and therefore how your reputation should be built and managed. Marketing, on the other hand, is communicating the value of your brand. What does your brand do for people? And why should people love it and therefore act on it? So marketing is about telling people that I have a brand of this nature and this is what it does for you. PR is about reputation. This is my reputation, and I want you to perceive me like this. So, and I'll give you illustrations to make my point. Then sales is about communicating to a very specific group of people, convincing them as to why they should buy your product. So sales is about getting a purchase executed. That's all that we're talking about. So the communication mechanisms, the plans that you draw for those three strands are completely different. So let me give you an illustration. Many of you go out there and you invest in grooming, for instance. You want to look good, you groom yourself in a particular manner, there is an image you want to cut. So for instance, if you're around about my age, you may find that for me, I am quite happy to walk around with my gray hair because I want you to perceive me as a very wise man of a certain age. But then I also have peers who will go and invest in dyeing their hair black so that they are perceived as still young and handsome and virile. So it's just a reputation, it's the image that we want to project. So that's what you do. You invest in an image. So I'm just giving you an illustration. So that's PR. You want to be perceived in a particular manner. Then, in terms of marketing, for instance, as I'm giving myself as an example, I will go and make sure that I am present on certain platforms and I am active there and I want to be perceived in a certain way. So for instance, I will come on to Twitter and I will want to be perceived as a farmer who is growing gonja or matoke or coffee, and I talk a lot about coffee because I am hoping that there are prospective buyers of coffee out there who will be interested in my product. So I go out, I talk, I sell the values of my coffee. I tell them, you know, the coffee can renew your energy in many departments. And if there are any takers, then I go to the third phase, which is who do I now contact to sell? So then Jumia gets in touch with me, then I go to Jumia, or many of you get in touch with me. Then now I talk to you about how to sell. In other words, pay me on the phone. Find my product. If you send a text to this number, the product will find you here. So that is the distinction. When I am talking generally about the values and the intrinsic value of Rujeyo Coffee, I am just talking to all of you. But then when somebody makes an inquiry about where to find the product, then I zoom in and I get into a communication with that person. So those are the three, and you should have plans for those three things. Let me use a very dangerous example. I mean, you look at people who may want to be perceived either as models or as very sexy or as, so they invest time in doing that and they are perceived like that. Then they will go on either LinkedIn or Instagram or Facebook and project themselves so that they can attract people who may be interested in them, in those attributes that they have, that they're sexy, they're beautiful, whatever it is. Then when somebody clicks a like and starts communicating with them, then those people start to engage the customers. So these ones now, it's time to carry out a sale. So today, if you go away with that distinction, for me that would be enough, because for once you'll be able to compartmentalize. What do you do, when, and for what purpose? You are on LinkedIn to market yourself as fitting for a job. You buy a suit and tie of a particular color, which is either gray or black, because you want to be perceived as a serious professional. Or you go and buy a pink suit that has a blue pocket and you wear a yellow tie because you want to be perceived as a celebrity who can sing or who can model. All of that stuff is deliberate. So that's the reputation you cut, and then the brand communication you put out there. Then when people get in touch with you, you close the deal. So that's where I would make the distinctions. And you can go back and find many examples in your own life where you, as an individual, you are investing in your reputation. You are also investing in your branding because you want to be seen as having a certain value or a certain use. And then the third one is when you now engage with people who can potentially either pay you or engage you for work. That is now the sales part. So the communications are completely different, and what you invest in is completely different. So that's in terms of the distinctions. So I guess you're wondering now, what would you then invest in terms of the strategies, either for PR, marketing, or sales? And I'll just spend a bit of, not that much time on PR. Let me start with PR. PR, the first thing you need to do is be very clear about the image that you want to project. Be very, very clear about the image that you want to project. Once you decide the image you want to cut, whether as an individual or as an organization, and you've discussed it and you're clear that this is the image I want to cut, then it's okay. After that, you then can invest. As I give you an example, I wanted to cut the image of a farmer, so I spent time, I decided I'll be seen in overalls, I'll be seen in my banana plantation, and so I started to project that image. So that's how I want to be perceived. I don't want to be perceived as a celebrity or as a musician, because I'm not a musician. But then there are musicians, and you see them and how they invest. They will have pink hair on one side and yellow on the other, and they will have these outrageous dress codes because they want to capture your attention as such. And then bankers will make sure that they wear the darkest suit and the most conservative tie. So that's really in terms of you defining the image you want to project. In PR, you must figure that out. Don't send conflicting signals. Don't send mixed signals. Send a consistent signal of how you want to be perceived. Then you must know, when you decide on that image, how is it going to enhance your prospects wherever? Because ultimately, you're not just building a reputation for its own sake. You're building a reputation for a purpose. So you must decide, how does it help you to be in a business suit if you're a singer? If it helps you, then yes, project that image. So be sure that the image you've zeroed down on will contribute to the reputation you want, and that the reputation you want will lead to the outcomes that you expect. You must also have a reputation management plan, because there will be people contesting the image that you're trying to project or the reputation you're trying to build. They will be throwing mud at you. They will be trying to tear you down. So you must know that in PR, reputation management is a continuous process. You're not going to just project once and hope that everybody has accepted it. You've got to build it. You've got to build it continuously. There will be guys knocking it down, and you've got to repair it and gloss over it. So you must have plans for that. The other thing, and this one, please, 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 I'm not even advising you, I'm begging you. If you are keen and interested in your PR and your reputation management, hire people who are trained professionals in that line. They exist. They studied communications. They know reputation management. Please hire those people. Don't hire the next good-looking guy or the next beautiful girl and think that you're doing PR, that if she turns up, everybody will like. No. There are professionals in public relations and in communications. Hire them. It will save you a lot of money, and it will save your reputation, and it will enhance your reputation. I'm saying so because I've been working with them for the last 30 years, and I know they're there, and they're very good at what they do. People think that anybody who can speak good English can be a public relations manager. No, they can't, not necessarily. They may not even be the most articulate person. What these people do is they understand audiences. will be good for your reputation. Finally, it's important that either you as a person or as an organization, you have defined behavior that will enhance your reputation. There should also be behavior that you frown upon. And you must know what is it that either you as an individual or you as an organization, things you will not be found doing because they're not good for your reputation. Why is that important? Because if it damages your reputation, it will be very bad for business. So, for instance, I don't know now, but when I was still studying law, we used to be told that judges should never be found in bars. Because as a judge, you should be conservative and shouldn't be found. The perception you'll create is that you may be drinking with criminals who you'll have to try tomorrow. So those are some of the things that come up. So that's on the PR side. On the marketing side, first of all, be very clear. What value does your product or service bring into the marketplace? So whether it is you as an individual or whether it is an organization, please be very clear. What value do you bring to the marketplace? So for instance, I may bring value to the marketplace of being hardworking, diligent, and a qualified professional of specialized knowledge. That's at an individual level. So that becomes the value that you communicate regularly. Secondly, you could be an organization with either a service or a product. You must be clear. What does your product help the public so that people can relate and connect with you? So if it is a telephone service, is it reliable? Is it clear? Or if you are selling food, is it healthy food? Is it delicious food? Is it a lot of food? Depending. You must define what your service or product, the benefit it brings to people. You have to be very, very clear about it. That's the starting point. Then you must also know what brand or how do you want the brand to be understood by the people who potentially can buy it. Then you've got to figure out where in the market. So where in the market do you want to be? So do you want to be everywhere? Are you a general person, or do you want to address a very specific market? Because it's important that you know who you're communicating to. Otherwise, you'll communicate to everybody. Like one of the jokes we used to have is that all the radio stations based in Kampala with their broadcasts facing Lake Victoria were transmitting music to the fish in Lake Victoria. So you sing to everybody and to nobody in particular. The other thing, of course, is you need to know where are the people, now that you've decided I want to be in this market segment, where are these customers? Where are they? And once you know where they are, how do you reach them? What kind of promotional activities do you do? I see a lot of people on social media broadcasting generally. Please support my hustle. I have got shoes to sell. No idea. Out. Whose shoes are you selling? Are you selling men's shoes? If it is men's shoes, which type of men? Is it men who are in employment or in business or whatever? You must figure that out, because that will help you to deploy your energies in terms of marketing where you should be relevant. Then, this is critical. In terms, please figure out, please figure out who is competing with you. Let's say you're a man and you're going for a girl, and you are now marketing yourself. Okay, let's say, when I was still socially active, we would go to parties. Now, remember, you are all like 20 alpha males in this thing and just trying to get noticed. You've got to figure out which particular segment of the females you are targeting. Don't just go generally talking all over that. You may not zero down on any one of them. So please, please. Now, as you're figuring that out, you also look around. Who are you competing with for these girls? Because you may be, and then what strengths do these people have? It may be that for you, you're good at just talking, but the person you're competing with is going to deploy some money and make life easy. So you've got to make sure that you understand the market terrain you're operating in. So if you don't understand, if you're selling shoes and you don't know what the shoe selling market is like, who you are competing with, who else is selling shoes, are they discounting, what are they doing, how are they promoting, you're not paying attention to that, you will end up doing or relying on what we use at the office we used to call it sympathy selling or sympathy marketing. Please help me. Why should I be sympathetic to you? Talk to me. Let me know. Let me feel that what you are selling will work for me. So, and then, as I said, you must understand your competitors. Who are they? One of the things I used to do let me just say this maybe before I talk about that. Then you must also understand what is it. First of all, I've talked about the overall market trends, but you must also, what is it that you can do to attract these customers or more of them? The other thing, you owe yourself this as well. You must collect market intelligence. You must know what your competitors are doing and then act on it. Otherwise, you're caught sleeping. So, what we used to do at these parties is you wait. If you're competing for the same young lady, you wait. The other guy goes to the loo, you go and sit, and you put in a word. If your other competitor drinks too much, you make sure that he drinks a lot so that he completely is out of it, and you're the only one left. So you make sure. So these are the things, you see, if you understand your competition, and you've collected market intelligence, market intelligence is available. Either it's the way the guys are communicating or how they're promoting, and you can imitate them, and then people can't tell the difference, especially if it's a commodity. One of the things I used to do is I would announce my intentions publicly, say, we're going to do this. A lot of the times, my competitors would think I am either joking, or they would spend a lot of time trying to tear down my intentions. I would just ignore them and continue to do what I was doing. And by the time they realize that I have moved, it's too late, or they're now chasing me. So when somebody announces that they're going to do something, please believe them, because they'll actually do it. Or if they do it, you're not caught off guard. The other thing in marketing terms that you need to understand is which platforms offer access to which prospective customers. You don't have to be on every radio station. You don't have to be on every social media platform. And if you should be, figure out, is your market there? If it's not there, don't go there. So if for instance, a platform is like, say, Instagram, which is, I think, targeted at younger people, what are you doing selling air tickets there? So if you want to sell your air tickets, try LinkedIn or try maybe Twitter. Those guys fly, they travel regularly. So if you've got deals, that's where to go. So you really have to figure out which platform is going to work for me effectively. Don't just go everywhere, otherwise you will be overstretched. Then, this is for me another absolutely important aspect. How are you going to present your product to these prospective customers? How are you going to look attractive and desirable? What are you going to do? All this is when you now need your creatives who will help you to deal with this situation. Then you need to figure out what kind of loyalty programs are you going to engage in. Find innovative ways of keeping your customers loyal to you. How do you do that? And all of us need customer loyalty. All of us. How do you ensure? And there are various ways. Organizations will do it differently. Individuals will do it differently. That's why you have people calling. That's why you have people contributing. That's why all of these are possible initiatives that you can undertake to ensure customer loyalty. Also, keep checking. Have a mechanism that checks which customers have dropped off. It's the marketing guys. This is where the marketing guys will help the sales guys. Which customers have dropped off? Why did they leave? Can you analyze that? So that's on the marketing side. Let's go to the selling now, because all of what you've done in PR terms and in marketing terms must now lead to people buying. Customers must come in, must now be interested enough to buy. Now, this is where the sales guys come in. Now, the sales guys are not going to go and start praising the qualities and whatever of your product or yourself. The sales guys now zero down on dealing with individuals or people or that will actually buy. So, like for us in the media, we zero down to the marketing managers, because the marketing managers are the ones that buy advertising space. So the sales guy is the one who deals with the marketing guys, he deals with the ad agencies, or deals with the distributors who sell newspapers or sell airtime. So now, the sales guys, now that is one of the, so the question is, which you must address in your strategies. How am I going to turn the prospective customers who are marketed to, who like my reputation? How do I turn those into paying buyers? I see a lot of people putting products out on social media, especially. They get a lot of likes. I am one of them. I get a lot of likes for my coffee. And then the next question is, how do I turn those likes into buyers? If I manage to turn all my followers and the people who like what I do with Rujo Coffee into buyers, I wouldn't be able to meet my demand. So the challenge is, how do I move beyond my reputation? How do I move beyond how I've marketed to them to now convert those likes and those follows into purchases? So that's where the sales strategy comes in. So how am I going to work with people who are directly responsible for buying? That's a question you should. So for instance, one of the things we used to tell people, in the beginning when we just started Bukede TV, people would ask, but this is a TV for low-level people, house boys, house girls, mechanics, salon hairdressers. And I would tell them the thing I discovered along the way. Many of you who are at home, you will send your house girl or house boy to the shops to buy things. Those people go to the shops and make a very fundamental commercial decision. What's the fundamental commercial decision? For you, you tell them, I want toilet paper. They are the ones who decide which brand they will buy. You tell them, I want sugar. They will decide which brand to buy, whether Kinyara or Kakira or Lugazi. If you tell them, I want soap, they will decide which one to buy, whether it's Mukwano or whatever. So we then persuaded guys that if you'll be on our TV, because our TV is reaching some of the most critical people. They may not have the money, but they make the decision. So if you're in a shop and two people walk in, a man and a woman, and they're making a decision to buy either domestic things or clothes and so on, if I was the customer care person, I would pay a lot of attention to the wife, because whatever she says goes. The other guy just pays, but the wife is the one making the judgment call of what to buy. And then there are those of you guys who announce things on social media. You say, new arrivals. Why are you announcing to all of us new arrivals? If you know that you're selling to women, then address those. So you really need to know where to find these people. Then, the other thing you must include in your sales plan is, how do you convert one-time buyers into repeat customers? Some people will use discounting, some people will offer loyalty programs, others will offer after sales. How do you tie people in? It's called long tail, I think, in the business language. How do you, or the network effect. So those are things you cannot, if you're going to sell me a watch or shoes, how do you ensure that I come back to you? Well, I'll tell you one way to ensure that I don't come back to you. If I wear your shoes and after 3 days my toes are out, that's the last time you'll ever see me. Or if you sell to me a belt or a trousers and you don't call me to find out whether I liked it and how it fitted. Or if I come and tell you that your product you sold me hasn't worked for me, and instead of offering to replace it for free, you insult me, I am not coming back. So you need to understand why you must have a plan for turning people who purchase once into repeat customers. Know when my stuff runs out. So if you've sold me food products, Just figure out my patterns. How often do I buy? Call me and check whether I need a replenishment. And then you must also have plans. How do you increase sales to customers you already have? What do I mean? If I'm already your captive customer, how do you make me buy more? That's something you must include in your plan. Then the other things you must engage in. How do you forecast? What are the leads that you need to track? How can you make discovery calls to find out what's going on? How do you track opportunities? How do you support your sales channel so that it's actually out there and functioning? How do you pitch for business? Do you go out and network? Who are you dealing with? How are you pricing? Pricing is important. Why is pricing important? Are you too many? Is the product widely available? So are you going to be a price guy or a quality guy? And you know, the people who amuse me, and you know, you go into an area, sometimes it works well, sometimes it doesn't. But you find people in an arcade and they're all selling exactly the same things, one shop after another. So there it becomes a pricing issue. So if your product is not unique, then you're going to have to do a lot of discounting and so on. Then, you know, there was a friend of mine who told me a story that really caught my eye. He told me, look, he used to have a supplier in Kenya. So he did so well. The supplier came and was trying to find out why this guy is very successful. He's one of the most successful dealers. When the supplier figured out why this guy was very successful, the supplier decided to come into the Ugandan market himself. So one of the things, if you're doing business, is please look at your suppliers for two reasons. One, if you're so reliant on one supplier, just fear that they'll either play you on the price or they'll come into the market. If you think I'm lying, talk to guys who used to sell cars in Kampala about 20 or 25 years ago. All the Ugandans who are dealing in cars, second-hand cars from Japan and Dubai, are out of business. Why are they out of business? Because the Pakistanis who are doing the business in Dubai figured out, well, we might as well just go to Uganda and do the business ourselves. And they came into the market. And then, of course, you're out of business. The Chinese, they're here. They're trading. You have to go there and buy from them for cash at exorbitant prices. They're coming here at discounted prices on credit. So all those are things you must take into account when you're drawing your sales strategy. That's going to be the nature of your supply chain. And on this supply chain issue, I really recommend one book that anybody who is planning to go into business or is doing business at whatever scale, go and read. The book is called Shoe Dog by Phil Knight. I think it's Phil Knight. He's the guy who started Nike. That's a really incredible story that everybody should read and understand the supply chain challenges that you could face, but then overcome them and build a business. Then, how are you getting your product out to the market? How do you deliver it to where it's supposed to be when it's needed? I've had challenges with my coffee. Guys get very angry with me. How we can't find your product on the shelves? What are we going to do? Then I have to explain to them that I'm not yet on the shelves and they can't understand why. But you must be clear, and me, I am very clear. My product for now will be sold online, finished for now, until I have the scale and the resources to go onto the shelves. Then the other thing you must always have, you must have sales targets and review them regularly. Are you meeting them? If you're not meeting them, why aren't you meeting them? What is it you need to adjust? The other two, the reputation strategy and the branding strategy, those are long term. The sales is short term. This year we have a revenue target of X. Are we achieving it or are we not? And what do we need to do to achieve them? Just don't get involved in wrongdoing. So then, at the end of it all, what you must do is make sure that whatever sales strategy you draw or you come up with is built on what the marketing and PR guys are doing, so that it carries you. So whatever advantages you have on the marketing side and on the PR side, you can then leverage those to access the customers and be able to close your sales. So the only thing I'll say to you guys is that if you do only 65% of the things I have just told you, you will do very well in whatever it is that you're pursuing. And I'll say again that this applies to all the businesses, whether you're a corporate, shop, or a car boot salesperson. So take note. Once again, let me just say this because I said it at the beginning, so I'll take a chance to say it now because there's lots more people online now. We set out to do this, the 40-day mentor, for the 40 days of the lockdown. And those days, I believe, will end today. But our engagement with you will continue. We read and reviewed your feedback of what you wanted us to do. And we've decided that, yes, we will continue with the mentoring. It will not be called 40-day mentor. It will be called 360 mentor. And what I will do is I will do Mondays, and Twitter will continue to be my main platform for doing this because it allows us to engage throughout the day with tweets, and then we do the audio in the evening. It will be Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Friday will continue to be Coffee with Robert Kabushenga, where I do this personally. But Monday and Wednesday, I will talk to someone. And my plan is to bring you voices from the future. So we'll talk to young people who are doing incredible things so that you can learn from them. What are they doing? Then we'll also look up people who have done a lot, and they may be senior, but you've never heard from them. What is their story? What are the stories they have to tell you? So yes, let me run with that for the month of August, and we see where that takes us. I am talking to a couple of young people, and they are helping me to plan this. Maybe I should mention them. They've been really very helpful. Nakarubi, David Kanje, Nakarubi Hanifa, and Ruth Aine. I really, really value your perspectives. You really gave me an insight that I hadn't thought about. So we shall build on those conversations. And of course, the guys that I was working with, Tony Otoa and Rukwenje. I said earlier, let me say so now, that Tony Otoa has his Ubuntu leadership, and I think that he's doing incredible work in terms of leadership and master classes. Then there's also Rukwenje, who is mentoring particularly people of a much younger age, people straight out of school. I think Rukwenje has to be supported. He's helping us prepare young people so that the rest of us don't have to do a lot of repair work at a later stage. So if there are any good people out there listening, please support those two guys so that they can, this whole mentoring thing is so huge. And then, as I said, the guys who have mentored, and then for the girls specifically, there's Alena Sima with her Girls for Girls. Please engage her, because this mentoring thing is so huge. Now, the mentors that I've worked with, I urge you, please continue to engage with the audiences that have been drawn to you, because they've been drawn to you by your story and the things that they've experienced. Don't get tired. Keep doing it. Okay, I have spoken, and we have exactly 12 minutes, or is it 10 minutes, to take a couple of questions so that we can make the most use of it. So if you have any questions, my guys out on Spaces, if you're ready, just give me a sign, request. I'm waiting for your questions, if any. Otherwise, we've got to run, because I don't want to get into the time that the big boss is going to use to talk to us about COVID-19. But since I see no, let me see. Okay, Emmanuel Mwaka on Spaces. Are you there? Try TR Bright. TR Bright. Can you speak? TR Bright. Okay. Nyomyo 11. Or is it Nyomyo 1? Nyomyo 11. Can you speak? Okay, guys, unmute your mics and speak. Ziana Muddu.
Good evening. My name is Bright.
Okay, Bright, go ahead.
Thank you very much, sir. We are very, very grateful as young people to have such talk from you people who have been in the business.
Yeah.
Hello.
We can hear you.
It's really bad.
I can hear you.
Yeah, but so I'm into. All right, I'm into which is the new trend of digital marketing and social media PR.
Mm-hmm.
And my question would be, do you think the trends of physical marketing are actually going to keep the same when we're actually taking a trend of digital marketing and social media PR?
Okay, Bright, my simple answer is yes. All other forms of marketing continue to exist because the market is so divided and diverse, and we're not all on digital platforms and we all experience them the same way. There will still be people who want to touch an object and see what it feels like. As they say, the African's eyes are in the hands. So you'll have those types of people. But I also urge you, please find a way of compartmentalizing. If you're into social media marketing, maybe get a partner or someone else who does a social media PR. Otherwise, you'll get muddled up. Peter Odeke, let me hear from you.
Thank you, Robert. I know you have heard this over and over again, but allow me to say it for those who are not able to speak today.
Yes.
We really want to thank you for the 40-day mentor and everybody who has been able to come and mentor us. It's been really, really useful. And I think turning this to today's topic, I think you have marketed yourself as somebody who is totally relevant to the site today. So on behalf of everybody, just thank you.
Wow. Considering what I went through yesterday, this sounds like music to my ears. Okay. Irene Esther Mutuzo.
Hi, Robert.
Hi.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
My question is around personal branding. How do you go about about projecting different facets about yourself that are almost very different? For example, I'll give an example of myself. On one hand, I write and perform poetry, and it's sort of a product. It's something I earn from. Then on another hand, I'm also passionate about my career in PR and technology and the work I do. And sometimes it's a bit difficult to know what brand I should project because all these are two different brands, but they're both brands that I'm very passionate about and want to grow. Yep.
Okay, Irene, I'll tell you this. It's very simple. As I said earlier on, figure out what your value is to your different markets. Once you've worked that out, what it is, what's the benefit of you being in all those spaces, then you invest in marketing those to the prospective audiences. Then you can also build a reputation around that. You want to project yourself as either a poet or as a PR person or both, depending on which audience you're talking to. Jackie Oloya in Germany.
Is about gratitude.
Hey, Jackie, we didn't hear the first part.
Thank you very much. I said,
yeah,
mine is not a question at all. I would like to say thanks my brother Otoa for this session of 40-day mentor. And my request would be that for purposes of keeping records and history straight, let's maintain it as 40-day mentor and not the 360 that you're suggesting.
Okay. You're the owners, no worries.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Ruben D. Kamanzi, I think? No. Sorry. Edgar Utaji. Edgar, you there? Ingabide Sebastian.
Good evening, Mr. Kabushenga.
You don't sound like a Sebastian.
Oh no, I am a Mrs. Ingabire.
got you there. I got you. And your kid has spoken as well. Go on.
About unbranding.
Mm-hmm.
Do they go concretely, and are they the same thing?
Sorry, say that again. What and branding?
My question is about branding and PR.
Oh, okay, yes.
Branding and PR.
No.
Are they the same thing?
No.
And do they go concurrently?
No, they are not the same thing. PR, as I said at
Please
the beginning.
differentiate.
Yes, let me say that again. Let me say that again. PR is communicating how you want to be perceived. That's about your reputation. You're not communicating what you're useful for. You're just communicating what image you want to project, how you want to be perceived. In branding, you are communicating what value you have that could be useful to other people. And so you are hoping that when people see that use, they will demand for it and pay for it. In reputation, you may just want to be known as somebody who is like that, and that's it, and you're happy, finished. You don't expect any business or financial benefit out of it. And the professionals who run it are different from, professional marketers are completely different from PR marketers, completely. Ziana Mudu, are you there?
Yes. Good evening, Robert and everyone.
How are you?
Thank you for giving me the opportunity. Very well, thank you. Mine is just like Peter Odeki. I just wanted to appreciate the space for all the work you've done for the 40 days.
Yeah.
You've given us an opportunity to learn and unlearn. We had so many meters in our heads that, but I'm glad you brought examples of people that have lived their life, real people, not snares.
Okay.
But we appreciate the space. And so I was wondering what we're going to do after the 40 days, but I'm glad you have a plan for us.
Yes.
To keep learning and keep unlearning, because there's so many false people in the market, in the world. And we are glad that you're so real to everyone's heart. So
I have five. I
one
have
of
10.
the things that really
Ziana, I have 10.
Hillary,
I have 10
Hillary.
fingers and 10 toes.
Hillary was the winner, and every time I wake up, I wake up before I used to wake up to like work out, but now I wake up to see what Hillary is saying for the day and what would motivate me. And it's one of those things. I've never met him, and I would love to meet him. But thank you so much for the space. You really introduced us so many people in the ecosystem that we didn't know. My name is yes. And I'm glad you have a plan for us. And please keep these things going, because it's a mix of everyone. Everyone is searching for answers. Okay. And during this period, so many people have been depressed, especially the guys turning 40 like us soon. We're like, okay.
I have been there. I know.
Have we achieved? Yes, so it's the 40. When you're at that 40 thing, you're like, okay, good. I need to evaluate my life. What have I achieved? What have I lost? But thank you so much for your time, and for everything that you've shared with us, and for all your mentors that have come up, really to share with us their personal lives, because it's not easy to really go personal. They really thank you, Robert, and your team.
Most welcome. Juko Haruna.
Good evening, Mr. Robert Kabushenga and all the listeners on the space. Honored to be part of this space today. Mr. Robert, thank you so much for enabling me and others understand the difference between sales, marketing, and public relations. Very sure there are very many people still confused, but we made it clear to us today.
Great.
And secondly, I would like to appreciate you for being my personal inspirator. It inspired me, especially when it comes to farming, coffee in particular. I follow you on Twitter on a daily basis. The photos you post when you're in your fields, I feel like I'm with you there. Thank you so much. You're doing a very great job. My question is,
don't pick up my bad habits.
I'll emulate doing Mr. Robert. So the question I have is,
business.
Sincerely, I did not know
Guys, hold on a moment. Guys, wait a minute. I'm having too many people talking at the same time.
A few literature concerning.
Who is this?
Noble and I think
Noble, please hold on. Haruna, have you finished?
Okay, it's Haruna.
Actually,
okay, I've seen it.
Okay. Hey.
Pinpointed somewhere, but I'm privileged to be. I did not know this earlier.
Yes, let me ask.
Okay, now I've got to sort you guys out. Okay. All the guys stop talking. Let me bring in.
Okay, thank you.
Patience, Mshemiriru.
It's Haruna. Am I still?
Okay, Haruna, ask your question very quickly.
Yeah. The question is, in terms of business, there's a service business and a product business.
Yeah.
So when you're doing the marketing, how different could you do it for a service business? What makes your marketing strategy different for a service business as compared to a product business? Because with a service, you cannot package like maybe shoes and put them in nice boxes. How do you best sell it to your market? Thank you.
I know that my man David Kanje is listening, so he's gonna put these questions for me, and then I will answer them. But I need to get in as many people before we disappear. My good friend Tracy, let me hear from the Tracy first.
Thank you so much, Robert, for this space. My question is simple. There are companies that cannot afford a marketing person, a PR person, a social media person, a comms person, so the person ends up doing all the work.
Yes.
What do you have to say about such a company, and how would you advise that person to take on the roles?
Very simple. Have a plan for each activity. Then the person will follow the plans. But we can talk more on Twitter. Doreen, Namutebi. Doreen, are you there? Okay, let me see if I can get...
Oh, sorry, my microphone was muted, sorry.
Okay, speak.
I just want to thank you for this platform, because it's been really nice for me to connect with Ugandans back home. And I'll suggest that it continues for, the next 360 or whatever days. And also, I just want to say something about Robert that I learned through my auntie, who is a farmer. She said to me that I've come across so many farmers, but there's one person I respect in Uganda as a farmer, and that's Robert. If I could put his farm, if I could evaluate his farm, he's probably the only person whose farm has a value of $1 million.
Oh.
So I don't know how factual that is, but that's what she said.
Well, maybe I should cash in.
Abantu abaita farmers in Uganda. For you. Ambala, she's a serious farmer as well, and she's doing big things in Uganda. So that's what I wanted to say.
Send me her details and I'll go and visit her. Edgar Rutaji.
Oh, thanks, Robert.
Yes.
I'm very clear.
You are.
Am I? Perfect.
Yeah.
And thanks again. This has been amazing. Thanks again.
Yeah.
My question is, you mentioned in the case of a small business.
Yes.
You mentioned something about writing down all the individual activities and PR and the marketing and the sales.
Yes.
How can one then mitigate the risk of, because if you're a small business and it seems like you're doing all of those, how do you best mitigate the risk of drawing to one in particular, or being skewed to one? Because if you're doing everything, it feels like there's a bigger risk that one of the others will fall through the cracks.
I get
Thank
it.
you.
All right, so it's very simple. If you cannot once you write it down, you will know the areas where you're weak, and you can either enter a partnership or you can get consultants. There are people who do this on a consultative basis, and they help small businesses. And it will be, you may need to spend a bit more money, but get professionals who are willing to charge you a little money. So you don't have to do everything. You may focus on the areas where you're strong and outsource others. I mean, you can't be your own accountant, for instance. You won't file your own tax returns. So you may need to find those areas where you need help. Kamakune, Stella K.
Hi.
Hello.
This is Stella here.
Yes.
I also just wanted to add a voice to what other colleagues have been saying. Thank you, Mr. Robert, for the 40-day mentor. And for teaching me how to use spaces. You remember the person you phoned in the morning and told spaces? It was me. So yeah, I've been enjoying these 40 days. I've learned a lot.
Yeah,
thank you. I'm looking forward to learning more.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Patience in Shemireirwe. Okay. Patience is still having trouble. Check your mic, Patience. Let's hear.
Oh, hello.
Yes, Patience, we can hear you.
Yes, good evening. So my question is, like I had earlier said, if you have to maximize the sales, you must make sure your product is different from your competitors.
Yes.
So some products are so identical that you find it's hard for you to make sure you have something different from the rest of the products that are the same. How have you personally, as an individual, made sure your coffee is different? If I can learn from you, how have you made sure it's different from the rest of the coffee that is produced by other people? And how have you made sure that you're going to be the only person producing it in that particular form?
Patience, sometimes it's not that the product is different. It is how you differentiate the product in communication terms. I mean, different people communicate their same product differently. So I'm communicating my coffee differently from other people. Other people prefer to present their coffee nicely packed in fancy packets and put them out there and say nothing. On the other hand, I have a particular presentation I prefer. My coffee should be in khaki bags, and I will sing its praises to the high skies until everybody hears them. And I will mention what I think are specific attributes. I mean, it's the soils are unique in which my coffee is grown. It is robusta, it is robust, it has caffeine. So if you're looking for a kick, if you're looking for rejuvenation and energy, it really comes down to now how we market each other. I mean, look at the telecoms. They all offer exactly the same service: internet, voice, and so on. The question is, how do you communicate to your prospective customers what things you say or what value your things will do and differentiate it? So the differentiation can come in the communication. The product is exactly the same. It's how you persuade your prospective customers. So, but I'll say I'm happy to engage in a Twitter discussion on this as well. Okongo Owili, Matthias Owili, Francisco Basomie. Can you say something?
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank
both
you
of
so
you are
much,
talking
Robert.
at the same time, so which one of you is going to go first?
Let your Congo go first.
Okay, Okongo.
Hello.
Yes. We can hear you. Please speak, Okongo. Can you speak?
Oh, thank you, Francisco. Thank you so much, Robert. Well, really, now I'm taking a deep breath. Hello, can you hear me, guys?
Yes, we can, Okongo. Please speak.
Hello, am I audible enough?
Yes, you are.
Oh, thank you, Robert. I my long-term idol. I've always missed on the spaces because every evening around this time I'm struggling to feed my young chicks. I didn't know about the spaces and what is taking place here. Today I think it's a big blessing. I've
very glad to be here and to listen a long time.
Okay.
Robert, I raised my hand just to ask for the book. I didn't get the name very so well. I want to get the name of that book and be able to read.
It's called Shoe Dog.
Because I've understood I'm very poor in marketing, yet I'm very passionate about business.
Go and read a book called Shoe Dog. The book is called Shoe Dog by Phil Knight. It's about Nike. I'll post the cover on Twitter. Francisco Basomi.
Thank you so much, Robert. I want to thank you for the 40-day mentor.
Yeah.
I want to thank Tony Otoa and everyone who has mentored us. Thank you so much. I would like to request you, Robert, to accept my request to come to your farm to learn from you, because I'm also into coffee farming.
Yeah.
I'm doing 10 acres of coffee in Luero, and I request to come to your farm. I need to learn a lot.
Brilliant. That's a man after my heart. I'll let you come. Let's keep engaged on Twitter. Let's see what the president says about the lockdown, and we will know. But before, I might forget
Thank you so much, Robert.
I might forget saying this, but Hilary Bamulinde, I'm sending you my invoice because you've now become a big deal. So, so Hilary, maybe I'll get a lifetime membership to The Alchemist. Who knows? Anita Karisa. Anita Karisa. Anita, are you there? Anita Karisa. Okay, Anita can't seem to find her voice. The last word goes to Hilary Bamulinde. Hilary, you talk. Hilary, I'm going to wait because I have your own now.
Yeah, personally, I would like to thank you for giving me the opportunity to share my life story. It made a very big difference. I even made my kids listen to it. But as parting words, people have said so many things about service industry, and I just wanted to give you a small example.
No, you
5 years ago, we started a bar on Bandari Rise, and yeah, we had, there were, I think, 5 bars on Bandari Rise at a time. And one of the small things that we did was provide very clean toilets and seat liners for toilets. And just that small thing made a big difference. So if you're in the service industry, you have to think of how do you tap into people's psyche? How do you make people comfortable? And people will keep coming. Now there are probably more than 12 bars and restaurants on the same road, and we're still doing okay 5 years down the road. Thank you, Rob.
Hilary, before you go, somebody sent you a gift. Can you chop for me a bit, and I also these sides? Eh?
I will throw in a word.
Thank you very much, Hilary, and you've done so well, man. You continue mentoring the guys. I just keep looking at your engagement and your conversations, and I'm absolutely impressed by what you're being able to do for our young people. It looks like I still have some time for a couple of other people to speak. So there is Mayombwe Simon. Mayombwe Simon. Mayombwe Simon. Okay, we can't seem to get Mayombwe. Anita Karisa, have you found your voice now? Oh, we've lost her again. Derek Arthur Nsobani. Derek Arthur Nsobani. Okay, I think we're probably lost a lot of voices there. Richard Mutabazi. Yes, Derek, is that you?
Thank you. Robert?
We can hear you now. It's a bit bouncy, but we can hear you.
Yeah, I want to thank you, Robert, for spaces.
40 Dimeta.
Yes. Wow, we've lost you, man. Okay, so I really need to get back to answering a lot of these questions because we might run out of time, and so now I must. Hello. Okay, let me see where we are now. Okay, Richard Mutabazi, you're not there, so we'll go. So, okay, guys. So this is what I'm going to do now, is to let you know I have all the questions really zero around. I mean, Hillary has put it so nicely. Differentiation may come in the way you deliver the product, the way you serve your customers, the way you communicate. So in terms of differentiation, the product can be exactly the same. If you've been to the market, any market in Uganda that sells food produce, you'll find the women who sell tomatoes and vegetables all sit in the same area. Why is it that some are able to make a better turnover than others? It comes to the customer engagement, the way they receive you when you arrive, the way they wrap your things. Some of them will even carry the stuff for you into the car. It's just about the way you manage, how you seriously you take your business. And to get down to Tracy's question, you see, you may not be able to afford all the three functions to get specialized people to do them, but you owe it to yourself to write them down and delineate them and distinguish them. This is what I will do for sales. This is what I want done for marketing. This is what I want done for PR. If you don't know or you can't figure them out, get somebody you can talk to. Go and read about these things. There's so much information on the internet about these things. So simple. They will enable you to distinguish. Once you know, trust me, it will make a world of a difference how you sell your products. Then you'll stop this business of pleading with people. Please support my hustle, please. That's not how sales are done. Sales is, first of all, let me also say this. Business is hard. It's not a joke. Business is not easy. Don't think you'll turn up one day with what you think is a good product and they will sell. I've been trying to sell coffee. I thought it would be as simple as what I was doing, selling newspapers and airtime. No ways, man. It is hard and it will take time, and it will take a while for you to figure these things out. That's when people tell you about being patient and being persistent. So please understand, you'll have to figure these things out. You'll have to ask for help. If your strength, for instance, is you're an IT specialist and you're trying to sell your service, maybe tomorrow you're not going to become a marketer and start marketing, but you probably have friends who are in marketing. You probably have friends who are in sales. These friends are not just for us to go and sit in a bar and have a beer. These friends are for us to be able to benefit from their information and their knowledge. So if you have a friend who is in sales, ask them, how do I draw a sales plan? They will be very happy to help you do it even for free because they want to impress you with their knowledge. Same as marketing and PR guys. And that way you then figure out which plans to draw. And so in that sense, I think that once you understand that, and by the way, this just doesn't relate to only businesses that have to make profit and sell. It's also for organizations that are trying to have impact in society. You may be an activist, advocacy, you may be providing a service like health, whatever. All those things require you to have those skills in those three areas. You may not sell for money, but you may sell for uptake. And you want people to take your ideas and implement them, or to take your service and use it. So you will have to do some kind of sales. So if you are responsible for such an organization, or even for yourself, please, you owe it, as I said, to yourself to just even have knowledge about these things. So I think we could take a couple more questions from the guys who are on Zoom and who are on YouTube, so that I can address them. Then somebody says, Philemon is asking me, I said PR is about image. What happens to a product brand when company business values are in contradiction with PR marketing and affecting sales? The problem is not PR, image, or business values. The problem is at the leadership. The leadership has not achieved clarity of objectives, because all these things are supposed to serve the business objectives. So if there is contradiction, the contradiction is not between PR and marketing and sales. The contradiction is in what objectives you are pursuing, and there may not even be clarity within the teams as to what exactly you are pursuing. Sometimes there will be contradictions because there will be competition or contradiction between the team leaders of different products and so on. So that's where you've got to understand that you've got to have clarity. Before you deploy any of these products, you must have clarity. What is it that the deployment of either marketing, sales, or PR is going to develop? Well, somebody is asking me from YouTube to host Dr. Ramadan Gobi for a few lessons. Ramadan is my friend, and we've discussed many things. The problem is that he now has a new job, so I don't know if that job will allow him to do this. And by the way, I don't even know how this skipped my mind. So after many years of him pursuing me, he finally landed on me at the farm. So Simon Kasiate has set me up for Desert Island Discs on Sunday at 7 p.m. So please tune in. At the same time, I'll also be on YouTube, so you can go and check it out there. I have a story to tell, but the most important thing is I want you to tell me whether you agree with that my music tastes are good or bad. So please make sure that you listen to my story. I've been on Desert Island Discs a few times before. Each time I can't remember what I said the last time, but I have no fear of contradiction. So yes, so please make sure that you're able to, and then those of you who want to see what Rujeo looks like, you'll have an opportunity to see what it looks like. So that's that. Let me see if I can get Ruth Buana from Spaces. Ruth, what are you saying? Let's see if we can get her. Mayombwe Simon?
Can you hear me?
Yes, Ruth, we can hear you now.
If I did say this, I'll please. But today, in our high school language, we would say, today you are just badass. Thank you.
Somebody kept saying badass on the, I think it was either Anita or I can't remember. I think it was Anita or Umuchisha. Well, if I'm badass, well, I guess we had some benefit. Thank you very much, Ruth. Mayombwe Simon.
Yes, hello. Thank you, Mr. Robert. Thank you so much. Yes, I actually don't have any question, but I'm just requesting, if possible. Do you consider creating something like a book or something out of all this that is going on? Because this is so priceless. Like, ever since this started, a lot of things have been told, a lot of things have been talked about, and I mean, a lot of people pay a lot of money to get just a quarter of what we are getting here. And as you know, we can't get it all at once. We need to get it all. We need to teach it to our children and other people that are not on these spaces. So do you consider, getting a book, writing a book or something from whatever has been told by different persons? Thank you so much.
We'll see how to do that. I'm going to talk to Kanje. He's the one who knows how to aggregate this stuff. So I'll see what to do. Okay, young investor, UG.
Well, thanks, Mr. Robert, for such initiative. Oh my God, I was almost missing on this, going to listen to the president. I thank God that I just found this interesting talk. I've really learned a lot. I'm personally a young entrepreneur who is trying to come up with ideas in connecting suppliers to reliable markets. They may be local suppliers or people downtown in Chiku who have good products and they can't really exhibit them to people who are in need of them. So I found a lot of knowledge here. I'm very thankful for this. I wish God blesses you more and you get us more talks on this. Thank you very much.
Amen. Moses Akampulira.
Thank you, Robert, for the very informative talk about public relations, marketing, and sales. For me, it was really informative.
Most welcome.
My question Thank you. My question is, myself and a colleague are doing a mentorship journey with young people out there right from the village level, because there are a number of people who are not able, for instance, to log into spaces and listen to such a talk.
Good.
And they are doing a number of things and trying out, quite a number of stuff out there in the villages, and maybe some others are out of school.
Good.
And we're trying to run a program for them.
Yes.
And attending this has really been, eye-opening and inspirational. So we wanted to know whether it's possible that we could share with you some of our concepts so you can, add some value to what we are doing, and maybe a chat one of these days. I don't know how best we can reach out to you.
I have no problem doing it, but the best person for that is Rukwenje, and he's on Twitter. So reach out to Rukwenje. He will help you, definitely. Rukwenje is a good guy.
Great.
Okay.
Great.
Chiwanuka Moses. Chiwanuka Moses, 11.
Thank you, Mr. Kabushenga. You can hear me now?
Very well.
Hello?
Yes, speak.
All right, thank you so much, the Chief Architect. Thank you so much, the Chief Architect, for this program. And thank you, everyone who has been on. I have personally learned a lot. I've been a silent listener, and I would say through these spaces, I was able to meet Mr. Hilary. We met physically after an encounter on these spaces, and I keep learning a lot from everyone. Comrade Ottawa,
most welcome.
The Chief Architect Robert. So it was just a word of appreciation for this, and I believe they can continue as you're led. Thank you so much.
And I need to remind you, Tony has a masterclass tomorrow in the morning for public speaking. Make sure you can log on and see what lessons you can learn. David Lakuch. David Lakuch.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Thank you very much, Mr. Kabushenga.
Yeah.
For these spaces, I've been following for the 40 days, every day. A few days I've come in a bit late, but I've been following every single day.
Right.
I've learned a lot. Thank you for...
I think we've lost him. Now, guys, this is it. I must go. And thank you very much for the time we've spent together. I promise you, my sessions will continue. And as I told you, I'll be telling you on my main social media platform, which is Twitter. And I'll tell you the session on Monday, the session on Wednesday, and then the Friday one. For now, it's thank you very much to you guys. My sidekick, Tony Otoa, Rukwenje, who helped me with some assistance, Hanifa, Kanje, thanks for being there. Ruth, as I told you, so we're going to transform this into something. And I also need to go and hear what the president has to say. So it's time for me to check out. I want to thank the guys at Up Media, Solo, and Fuji. You've been great. We're now going to come up with what to do next. Definitely, we're not leaving you high and dry. Clearly, there is a great need for this, and we shall continue to do it. Have a fantastic weekend, and have a very good night.
Desert Island Discs.
Every human being should develop the capacity to have a long-term view. You must have the ability to look in the future, like 15 years from today.
Desert Island Discs.
So looking into the future is not for prophetic or biblical purposes. It is to determine the action taken now.
Desert Island Discs.
That because children are our children, we never pay attention to their own emotions and their own dreams and fears.
Desert Island Discs.
One thing I learned from my mother is you have to be open with your children about the fortunes of the family. There are no two ways about it. Don't ever, you can lie to your wife, you can lie to yourself, but never ever lie to your children.